Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. We have very distinguished guests today in our studios. Minister of Education, Stephen Lecce. He's really nowadays facing a lot of questions from the parents, teachers, and from the people. So we welcome Minister. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Everybody's asking you this question. What is the matter or dispute between Ontario government and the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation?
Absolutely.
So we want to tell our viewers what's going on there and what's the basic reason of that.
Yeah. My focus is to keep kids in class. I believe in my heart that students should never be out of class because the parties at the table can agree on a way forward. I believe strikes hurt kids, and escalation by the various unions are hurting our students the most. That's why I stand with parents against them, and I ask the unions to stay at the table, stay focused on students, and get deals. We've already announced 2 negotiated settlements with unions in this province, with QP among others, and I'm proud of that. The goal that we achieved in those agreements is that we got a 1% increase in compensation and pay and benefits, but we also were able to put more money to help our kids. And our preference, our commitment, is more investments to help our students, not more investments in compensation. Because, you know, the fundamental issue, not the only issue, but the big issue at the table, the fundamental challenge, is that the teacher union leaders are saying my members deserve a $1.5 billion increase in compensation. I'm offering them a $750 million increase. And what they've told us is if we don't give them that additional $750 million of your money, the taxpayers of this province, if you don't give them that money, they're going to keep striking. I think that's unfair for our kids. And I think they deserve better, which is why I'm encouraging them to focus on investments in our schools, better schools, updated curriculum, new investments in our facilities, more mental health and math scores. That's where the money should be going, not in paying more compensation to the second highest paid teacher in Canada. On average, an OSSTF teacher makes $92,000 a year. That's just the pay.
They're claiming that it's starting at $48,000, the basic salary for the teachers, they claim.
Yeah, the average for OSSTF is $92,000. I mean, that's according to the Ministry of Education. There's no doubt about it. So those are well paid. Now, I actually believe we should be paying our teachers well because these are instructing our kids, the next generation of leaders, of entrepreneurs, CEOs, and innovators. I believe in paying them well, but we pay them the second highest in the country. We pay them one of the highest in the industrialized world. I just think if we're going to be putting more money above the $750 million we're offering, it should go to help our kids, not to increase compensation for some of the highest paid teachers in the continent. So I think that's fair.
So this is the government version. What their only demand is just to increase their salaries, and they have other demands too?
They have a few other priorities. I mean, that is increasingly the difficult one at the table because we signed a deal with QP, with education workers. With education workers within OSSTF, within the Ontario secondary students. Essentially, these are that's right. These are for high schools. Within that federation, there's education workers. We offered the same deal to QP workers, to OSSTF workers, and they said no. And why? Why would they reject it? It's the same deal. They do the same job description. And the reason why is because they are insisting on higher compensation. So my hope is we can start focusing on our kids and not on ourselves, and make the focus more on how we can improve and modernize our education system to give young people the tools and the competencies and the knowledge to learn in a very competitive, disruptive economy and changing landscape.
And there's also, I think, government has capped the increase to 1% for the other sectors also.
That's
so
right.
That also the legal matter that you cannot increase it that because you're offering 1% to the other sectors?
Well, we think it's fair to offer all public servants 1%.
Okay.
You know, the teachers union will say that they want more than the rest of the public service,
okay.
and that's fair.
That's okay.
And just to be clear, there are roughly 12% more teachers in Ontario since 2003-04, but there's less than 1% more students. So we have more supports in schools, more capacity, less students.
So what you were telling, I heard before that too, that there's 12% increase in the teachers and less than 1%. So when you're on the negotiation table, you tell them this is the numbers, the figures, what they say after that.
Well, you know, look at what we're saying, and you know, we're all speaking about how we can get deals. My objective is to get a deal. My message to them is we're putting more money in the system. We've increased the education budget by over 50% in the last roughly decade. we put significant monies in education, but it hasn't resulted in better math scores. We've actually seen math scores plummet or decline under the former Liberal government every single year for 10 straight years since they introduced the failed discovery math, a different approach to teaching math. The point is, yes, we have to put more money. This government is putting $1.2 billion more this year. We're on track to spend more than we did last year. We are spending more in education.
But we are hearing that you're cutting the funds for the education sector.
It could be farthest from the truth, because under our government, we're spending more than any government in the history of Ontario. We're spending more in mental health. I personally, as minister, doubled the mental health funding, more than doubled what it was under the former Liberal government. We're increasing it for special education, for kids that have intellectual or developmental disabilities, for transportation, and for so many other priorities. We're making it literally the highest contribution. But we're not just putting more money in the system, we're also creating accountability. 4-year math strategy, for example. Math scores have plummeted under the Liberals. Unacceptable. Our kids know, and we know.
But they were saying that 60% students are failing in the math subject, and also you're also thinking about to train the teachers for the math?
Yeah, I think it takes two investments here. One is providing more support for students, because we want to see math scores rise. We know that numeracy, financial literacy, and math is just so vital in the global economy. But we also know that our educators, who I think want to do the best they can for our kids, that we've got to ensure that they have the support as well. So we're investing in professional development of our educators, and we're also introducing a test, a mandatory test that will set standards, that if you want to enter a teacher, for new teachers, you've got to have a good grasp of mathematics, because it applies in all subjects.
So on which stage now negotiations are between the government and these unions?
We're negotiating with all unions. I mean, some of them have wrapped up for December, and some our hope is to continue into January. Some are current, but the bottom line is we're continuing to work hard over the coming weeks to provide predictability, because what I don't think is fair is that every 3 years you could be a Conservative, a New Democrat, or a Liberal. Every 3 years. Bob Ray, Mike Harris, Kathleen Wynne, Bob Ford, what do they have in common? Not much. But the one thing they do have in common is that there's unions, the leaders of unions escalate against the government. And that is unfair for parents, because they should not have to have that anxiety if my kid's going to be in class tomorrow. We're fighting to keep them in class.
So what is the reason behind that? Is the reason that small group is getting the benefits and perks from the previous governments, and they want same with this government?
You know, I can't speak to their motivations. I can only tell you that for this government, I want to see money get into the classroom, not to increase compensation for the highest paid teachers in the nation. But with that said, I want to make sure that students remain the focus of the discussion. I'd rather see us increase math supports, provide more supports in mental health, build more schools, update existing schools. These are my priorities, and these are the priorities of many members. You know, a good friend of mine, Khalid Rashid, who's an MPP in Mississauga. I mean, for him as a parent, for myself as a minister, I've got 2 nieces in the Catholic system in York. I want to make sure our students succeed. And we're only going to do that if we put more money in their classrooms. And when I'm hearing from teacher unions that we're going to stop striking so long as you put more money in increasing the member compensation, that I think is not consistent with what parents want for their kids. It's what the union leaders want for their members. And I get that. Listen, unions exist to fight for their members. I understand. But I'm here for people like Khalid, for our caucus members, for the Premier. We fight for 2 million students. That's our constituency, not union members, kids, taxpayers, the next generation. So we're going to keep doing that at the table, and we really hope we can provide deals that provide predictability for all parents in Ontario.
Khalid is a key person. He's always updating us about the government policies.
Indeed. He's working hard, but he also recognizes that, you know, for him it's personal, and I'm sure for so many parents watching, they want to see an excellent education system, and we've got one of the best in the world. Our goal is to improve it, is to strengthen it, and to give young people the confidence to graduate with an absolute commitment that they're going to get access to a high-paying, good job in their life.
So 2 more topics I want to discuss. One is the class size that was first proposed 28, and then it's come to 25. Not only teachers, parents are also rejecting that. So on which position this matters?
So I made a fairly significant announcement that we'd move the provincial average of 28. We brought that down to 25. That I thought was a very important step. What it signaled is I'm open to being reasonable, to being focused on kids. But I need now, I've done that, I need the union to be reasonable too. And so far, since this process began, they haven't made one not one substantive change to their position since we started negotiating months ago. We've made moves. I also announced on online learning 4 mandatory courses to 2.
Yeah, that's also, I was going to discuss that.
Yeah.
Why the government say that it's to modernize the province, to digitalize the province.
Yeah.
So is that the students are learning without teachers, or they are learning under the supervision of the teachers when
Absolutely.
they're doing e-learning?
But just to the earlier point, we made a major move. I've consistently been making moves, but the one constant is that the teachers union has decided to not make any changes on their end. And it takes 2 to tango. We both have to be reasonable to get a deal. We also, under our government, are protecting classroom sizes, the smallest in Canada, for the early years, grade 1 to 3, for the those early years. That's critical. That's the evidence says that in the early years that could change a life. So we're maintaining it for the smallest numbers. With respect to online learning, we believe in technology. We believe it's the way of the future. It's going to help young people. Technological fluency, understanding online. It's critical. We want to make sure it's seamless, because as you go to college and university, you're going to take online courses. So we're trying to incentivize young people to look to technology for a positive way to learn. Since 2011, there's been a 17% increase in uptake of young people turning voluntarily to online learning, because they see it as a new method, and also they like the technology.
Yeah.
So we're creating gold standard courses that are going to really inspire people to take them. They are led by Ontario teachers.
Okay.
They are Ontario certified educators. There will be exceptions for students who should not be in the program, particularly who may have intellectual or developmental challenges. They will not be required. For example, we're building in exceptions. We're going to have the highest standard courses that are going to really inspire learning. They're going to use digital as well as graphics to really help illustrate to young people that learning could be fun. And we think that blend will actually help inspire people to consider taking courses and ultimately raising our graduation rates too. I mean, Ontario teachers are going to be leading this process. It's going to be build in Ontario, build in Canada technology. I'm actually really excited about the idea of helping young people learn when we know for adults in professional development to students in college, university, you're learning online. I think we got to go where the puck is going. And I think students recognize that the digital marketplace is critical for them. So if we can give them, remember, we're taking 2 courses over the course of their high school, and whatever, they could take 1 in grade 9, 1 in 10, they could take them both in grade 12, they take it on their timeline.
No, but the government is recruiting new teachers on the vacant posts or not?
Sorry, they're what?
New teachers, they are recruiting new teachers for the post, because they are saying when the teachers quit or they retired, government is not appointing the new teachers. It
depends. In some boards where there's been growth, there will be new teachers hired.
Okay.
And if there's enrollment declining, if there's fewer people in your community, in your board, then the opposite could be true. But where there's population growth, or if we're maintaining population, we have over $1.5 billion fund it's called the Teacher Protection Fund, to ensure that teachers remain in the front of class, and that fund is working.
Okay. There's another thing I was hearing from you, the 750 million number. What is the 750 million number?
Well, we've offered a $750 million increase in compensation for pay and benefits, for example.
Okay.
The union's saying that we want another $750 million, which brings us to $1.5 billion.
Yeah,
so we're offering $750 million. I think that's fair, especially given that they are, as I mentioned, one of the highest paid in the nation. An OSSTF teacher makes $92,000 a year. So, we respect them and we value educators, and we want the best of the best in this province, but we're paying them well. And I think, to say to us, we're going to continue striking unless we get that $750 million additional increase. That's really unfair for our kids. They should not be in the middle of this. And my position through the beginning is we should allow them to be in class, and we should continue to negotiate the table. When you do these walkouts, when you strike, it hurts kids. And I think that they should not be a casualty of our disagreement.
Some of the boards are complaining that the government is cutting their funds. The school boards are claiming that. Is that right or not?
Well, as I say, where we've had the maintaining boards or increasing board enrollment, no, we're actually putting more money in the system. We're spending about $24 billion a year providing supports for students in boards of education. More frontline investments. We're actually doing more training, more professional development for teachers and principals, trying to counter bullying, which is a big issue. We've announced new monies for that. So, we're putting more money in the system. Overall, we're spending more on education than any government in Ontario history. I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be a generational person in politics that is putting more money in education, because education is the future of our prosperity, of our democracy, of our economy. But under the former Liberals, they also spent a lot of money in education. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to math scores, they decline. When it comes to our schools, they have a massive maintenance backlog. I mean, there's so many metrics that demonstrate that money without accountability doesn't lead to improved outcomes. You know, we have students who are waiting for a psychologist for access for mental health 6 or 12 months. So they increased spending by over 50% in education, but it didn't lead to material outcomes for the most part. There were some improvements, but overall there wasn't. Mm-hmm. So yes, we're putting more money in the system, and I believe we should. But we also have to ensure accountability for the taxpayers of this province so that they get better results for our students. And we should hold all of us higher. Government, our educators, our parents, we all have a role to play in supporting our students.
As you were saying, there's putting a lot of money and funding a lot of things. Why this perception which we are hearing from the media that this government is cutting the funds and everything? Why this perception?
I think no matter who the government is, the teacher unions will suggest, and the opposition parties will suggest, that there's cuts. We hear this no matter who's there. I can tell you that we're spending more in education. We're investing more in our students. We're putting $500 million, $500 million to build new schools and build new childcare spaces. In fact, in Mississauga, for many of our members of caucus here, we announced new projects, but right across Ontario, right across the GTA, building new childcare spaces, more schools, more support. We're updating our math curriculum. We're eliminating discovery math. We're going back to basics. We're updating it. It'll be done and implemented next September 2020. Okay. You know, we're doing a variety of initiatives that I think transform how students will succeed both in their life and in their jobs and when it comes to their futures. We're putting money in the system, but I also think it's important to recognize that there's no government in Canada's history, in Ontario's history, that's put more money in public education than the government under Doug Ford. Mm-hmm. And it's because we believe in public education. We want to maintain it and we want to improve it.
So we should hope good news in coming days for this matter, at least, resolve this matter?
It is certainly our goal that we will avoid any the unions will stop the escalation. They will keep kids in class, and that yes, we can get a good deal for all parties, because I think parents and the kids of this province deserve it.
Any message for our viewers?
That we're going to continue working very hard, I think, over the coming weeks to demonstrate to families that we care about their kids, we're on the side of our parents, and we want to support and be fair to our teachers. And if we can do that, if we can provide that level of hope and focus on students, I'm convinced we can get deals that keep students in class in one of the best education systems in the world.
Minister Lecce, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
जी जनाब, गुफ्तगू आपने सुनी, और जैसे हम मुख्तलिफ हवाले से देखते हैं या सुनते हैं कि जो परसेप्शन आता है कि शायद जो फोर्ड गवर्नमेंट है वो कट्स लगा रही है, लेकिन जब गुफ्तगू सुनते हैं, मिनिस्टर्स की गुफ्तगू सुनते हैं, खलीद रशीद साहब हमारे पास आते हैं, तो लगता है कि गवर्नमेंट ज़्यादा स्पेंड कर रही है। ज़ाहिर फैसला आपने करना है, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट जो है वो लोगों के साथ बनती है और आपकी राय के मुताबिक चलती है। बहुत सी चीज़ें ऐसी हैं जो हमने देखी कि इस गवर्नमेंट ने की, और उसके बाद जब आपकी तरफ से इसके हवाले से कुछ रिएक्शंस आए तो उन्होंने वो चीज़ों को जो है वो चेंज भी कर लिया। उम्मीद है ये जो स्ट्राइक है, ये जो जॉब एक्शन है, ये स्लो डाउन का प्रोसेस है, आइंदा आने वाले दिनों में बेहतर होगा। ना सिर्फ टीचर्स बल्कि पेरेंट्स भी जो हैं इस हवाले से अच्छी उम्मीद रखेंगे। दुआ में रखिएगा याद, हौसला नहीं हारना, बल्कि हौसला भी गुहारने की चीज़ है। एंड ऑलवेज फॉलो योर हार्ट, क्योंकि सब अच्छे की आवाज़। अरशद भट्टी को दीजिए इजाज़त। अल्लाह हाफिज़ और सपुर्द मौला।
Are you looking to buy or sell a business? Searching for a franchise or looking for a hotel, motel, strip plaza, or gas station to buy? Our certified professional team and certified franchise consultant are ready to help you, who represent more than 400 branches in North America. Call us today at 416-300-5600 or text us your email and contact details on this number and our team will contact you. 416-300-5600.
Muslim Welfare Center. Service to humanity is service to Allah.
Hello, I'm Zizi Farhan from Cityscape Real Estate. I love to help people in buying or selling their property. I've been helping buyers and sellers for a fair bit of time now. Before becoming a realtor, I was in insurance and risk management since 2005. Through my profession, I do get this opportunity to meet awesome people, and I really cherish these relationships.
الصلاة خير من
مسجد نور الحرم ایک شاندار روحانی تعمیراتی منصوبہ. ماشاءاللہ ورلڈ اسلامک مشن کینیڈا خوشی سے اعلان کرتے ہیں کہ مسجد نور الحرم کی تعمیر کا کام شروع ہو گیا ہے. اس پروجیکٹ کا ڈیزائن اور تفصیلات آپ یوٹیوب پر مسجد نور الحرم اوکویل ٹائپ کر کے دیکھ بھی سکتے ہیں. اس شاندار روحانی مرکز کی تعمیر میں مالی تعاون کر کے اس کی تکمیل میں حصے دار بنیے. ڈونیشنز کے لیے کال کریں 9052571342 یا wimcanada.com پہ لاگ ان ہوں.
Shahid Khwaja sold one home every 24 hours, over $1 billion in real estate sales. Shahid offers free home staging, unparalleled marketing, and 24 hours exposure until sold.
In today's market, to get the right value of your home, you need an experienced realtor.
Call today Shahid Khwaja, 416-662-3000 or www.shahid.ca.
Injuries not only impact you, but also people around you. Life is better than this. Let's get your life back. The injury lawyers at Alam Law will use their years of experience to handle your claim so that you can focus on your recovery. And remember, you don't pay until we win. Alam Law.
Hello, parents. Receive up to $7,200 government grants and $2,000 Canada Learning Bond in your child education savings plan. Power of grants with tax-sheltered growth. A smart and proven way to invest in your child's future. 31st December, last date to get this year's grants. Call Mohammed Arshad, 647-853-3030. 647-853-3030. Helping families for the last 10 years.
Dixie Electronics and Appliances is your #1 destination for electronics and appliances. Choose from TVs and home audio that will entertain your whole family, to home comfort essentials for your living space and a wide selection of appliances to build your perfect kitchen. From selection to delivery, Dixie Electronics is everything you need. Price match guarantee and 0% financing available, all under one roof. Come today at 5120 Dixie Road, Mississauga, or visit the website at dixieelectronics.ca.
घर खरीदना या हो बेचना, कोई तजर्बाकार और ईमानदार रियल्टर हो देखना, तो रियल एस्टेट की फील्ड में आपका दोस्त, आपका रफीक, ताबिश तौफीक. If you're searching for an honest and experienced realtor, please call Tabish Tawfiq of Remax Champions Realty Inc. 647-518-3000 or visit tabishhomes.com. 647-518-3000.